September 11th, 2001. A day that began like any other morning in New York City with thousands of people headed to work at the World Trade Center. Flights departing from airports across the East Coast. But within hours, this date would become one of the darkest days in American history. On this day, 20 years ago, 4 airplanes were hijacked by 19 militants associated with the Islamic extremist group Al-Qaeda. 4 planes that would never reach their destinations. 8:46 a.m., American Airlines Flight 11, traveling from Boston to Los Angeles, crashes into the North Tower of the World Trade Center. 17 minutes later, at 9:03 a.m., United Airlines Flight 175 crashes into the South Tower of the World Trade Center. For the next several hours, millions of Americans and the entire world watched in shock as the Twin Towers burned. With each passing moment, the gravity of the situation became more apparent. What had started as a terrible tragedy was now a nightmare. Amidst the chaos, amidst the destruction, there was heroism. Firefighters, paramedics, and police officers rushed into the danger zone, knowing that every minute counted. Their bravery was matched by ordinary citizens who helped complete strangers escape the smoke and flames. As the dust settled and the shock wore off, the full extent of the devastation became clear. The Twin Towers were gone. In their place, gaping wounds in the heart of New York City. But even as the nation mourned, it began to heal. People from all walks of life came together to help those affected by the attacks. In the days and weeks that followed, the world stood united in grief and determination. They would not be intimidated. They would not be broken. They would stand tall in the face of adversity and rebuild their lives. The attacks of September 11th were a tragedy of immense proportions, a dark chapter in human history. Yet even in the darkest of times, the human spirit can shine through. The bravery, compassion, and resilience displayed by the people of New York City and the United States as a whole serve as an inspiration to us all. In the face of fear and uncertainty, let us remember the lessons of 9/11s and strive to create a better, more compassionate world. So here's what happened on this day 20 years ago. Minute by minute, this is the story of 9/11s. 9:37 a.m., just minutes after the second plane crashed into the World Trade Center. American Airlines Flight 77 slams into the west side of the Pentagon. The impact is so forceful that a section of the building collapses. Inside the Pentagon, chaos ensues. People run for cover as smoke fills the hallways. The stench of jet fuel hangs heavy in the air. Outside, emergency workers arrive on the scene, rushing to help anyone they can. Meanwhile, back at the World Trade Center, the situation is deteriorating rapidly. With 2 towers burning and the threat of more attacks looming, authorities make the agonizing decision to order the evacuation of the area. People are told to leave their cars, abandon their homes, and flee. As the smoke billows into the sky, an eerie silence falls over the city. All flights are grounded! Air traffic controllers struggle to contact the pilots whose planes are still in the air. There is a sense of dread, a feeling that something else has happened, but nobody knows what. On board United Flight 93, passengers and crew members learn of the attacks on the World Trade Center and the Pentagon. They know that their flight is in danger as the hijackers prepare to strike, the passengers fight back. They rush the cockpit, determined to prevent another attack. In the ensuing struggle, the plane crashes in a field near Shanksville, Pennsylvania. On board, 40 people lose their lives. None of the 19 hijackers survive. 10:03 a.m. Back in New York City, the second hijacked plane, United Airlines Flight 175, crashes into the South Tower of the World Trade Center. The impact is devastating. Flames erupt and thick black smoke billows into the sky. People trapped in the tower desperately call out for help. Within minutes, the entire building is engulfed in flames. 10:28 a.m. The North Tower collapses. People run for cover as tons of debris rain down on the streets. Below, cars are crushed. Buildings are damaged. But amidst the destruction, there is still hope. People continue to search through the rubble for survivors. Firefighters battled the blaze, trying to put out the remaining fires. 10:59 a.m. The South Tower collapses. The impact is so powerful that it creates a dust cloud that engulfs the entire city. People are thrown to the ground. Cars are overturned. The air is filled with the smell of burning metal and the screams of terrified people. But even in the face of such devastation, there is still hope. People help each other up, they dust themselves off, and they get ready to help however they can. 11:05 a.m. The last call comes in. United Airlines Flight 93 is missing. Air traffic controllers have been unable to reach the plane since it departed from Newark International Airport. There are conflicting reports about what may have happened. Some say the plane has crashed. Others say it may have been hijacked. But no one knows for sure. As the minutes tick by, the worry grows. Where is Flight 93? What has happened to the hundreds of people on board? 11:37 a.m. President George W. Bush is informed of the attacks. He is at a school in Florida reading to a class when his chief of staff calls him aside. The president is taken to a secure location where he is briefed on the situation. The American public is still in the dark about what has happened. They watch as the president addresses the nation on television. His words are calm, but his eyes reveal the gravity of the situation. 12:03 p.m. Rescue workers arrive at the Pentagon. They begin the difficult task of searching through the rubble for survivors. But it soon becomes clear that there are none. The only hope now lies with the passengers and crew members of United Flight 93. 1:03 p.m. News breaks that the third plane, American Airlines Flight 77, has crashed into the Pentagon. The Pentagon is badly damaged, but it is still standing. Rescue workers are on the scene, but it will be some time before they can begin the search and rescue operation. 1:28 p.m. The fourth plane, United Flight 93, crashes into a field in Stony Creek, Pennsylvania. There are conflicting reports about what caused the crash. Some say the plane ran out of fuel. Others say it was brought down by the passengers. But no one knows for sure. 1:59 p.m. The South Tower of the World Trade Center collapses. People are trapped in the rubble, calling out for help. Firefighters try to reach them, but it's too dangerous. The building is unstable and could collapse at any moment. 2:03 p.m. The North Tower collapses. The air is filled with the sound of screaming and the smell of burning metal. People run for cover as the dust cloud envelops the city. 2:28 p.m. The death toll begins to rise. Hundreds of people are confirmed dead at the World Trade Center. Dozens more are dead or injured at the Pentagon. And at least 40 people are dead in Pennsylvania. 3:03 p.m., President Bush addresses the nation once again. He declares a war on terrorism and vows to bring those responsible to justice. The American public is shocked and horrified. They watch as the president speaks on television. 4:03 p.m., rescue workers begin to sift through the rubble at Ground Zero. They work tirelessly, but they know that most of the people trapped in the rubble are dead. 5:03 p.m., the world begins to mourn. Flags are lowered to half-staff. People gather in public squares and parks. They pray, they cry, they try to make sense of what has happened. 6:03 p.m. Nightfall in New York City. The lights of the skyscrapers are turned off. The city is plunged into darkness. For the first time in many years, there is no hustle and bustle, no traffic, no noise. Just silence. 7:03 p.m. The world watches in suspense. As the leaders of the United Nations meet, they discuss the attacks and vow to bring those responsible to justice. 8:03 p.m. The first funerals are held. People say their goodbyes to the victims and try to come to terms with their loss. 9:03 p.m. The world remembers. People light candles. They release balloons. They pray. They remember the victims and pledge to never forget. 10:03 p.m. The world is changed forever. The attacks of September 11th were a tragedy of immense proportions. They claimed the lives of nearly 3,000 innocent people. They left the United States and the world reeling. But in the face of such evil, the world stood united. They pledged to honor the memory of the victims by living their lives to the fullest and making the world a better place. "20 years have passed since that fateful day in September. The scars of that day will never truly fade. But the world has moved forward. They have rebuilt, they have recovered, and they have learned from their mistakes. The world will never forget the lessons of 9/11.